Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to day 13 of our 15 days free training program on Python for AI. Let's recap what we learned till now. So, we got to learn about Python and its history and its versions. And then we got to know about the 12 features of Python, which makes it widely adopted and popular. And also, we've learned the installation and setup of Python. And then we got to learn about Python IDEs, which are like workspaces. And you can work with Python in these workspaces to code, write, and edit, and also to run the code. And then we've learned about literals, which is the data which we give to the programs. And we got to know about the variables or identifiers. So these are like the names which will refer to these literals or data. So variables and identifiers store the reference which points to the objects which are having these literals. And then we got to know about data types. So there are 6 data types in total. And we've got to know about the typecasting techniques. And then we got to know about the operators. And we've started the flow control statements and we've completed with the conditional statements. So in flow control statements, there are 3 types: conditional statements, looping statements, and miscellaneous flow control statements. So yesterday, we've learned about the conditional statements, and in these we have if, simple if statement, if else statement, and if else. And also we've known about the nested conditions using these statements. And then we've also learned about the match case statements. So this is just like so this is used for menu driven applications. And so these are the types of conditional statements we've learned about. And these conditional statements will help our programs to make decisions. So these are used for decision making, okay? But today we are going to learn, which is something very equally important, that is loops or looping statements. So these looping statements or loops help our program to repeat actions automatically. So let's get into today's topic, that is looping statements. So today we're going to know about looping statements and its important parts, and also the type of loops and the for loop, while loop, and what are the functions we can use in the for loop, and also the inner and nested loops. So firstly, looping statements are also called as iterative statements or repetitive statements. So the purpose of looping statements is to perform certain operations repeatedly for a finite number of times until the condition becomes false. So in simple words, this is used to execute a block of code repeatedly. So until when we will repeat is until a condition becomes false. So these looping statements are used to execute a block of code repeatedly until a condition which we give becomes false. So in real life example, imagine your teacher asking students to write some formula 50 times to remember. So what you do is you'll probably write the sentence again and again manually, right? So instead of that, instead of writing it manually, what a computer program does is it can use a loop to repeat the instruction automatically. So instead of doing the manual work, the computer program can use a loop and it can repeat the instruction automatically. So this is exactly what looping statements do. So there are mainly two types of looping statements. Firstly, for or for else loop, and then while or while else loop. So both will allow repetition, but they are used in slightly different situations, okay? So for is used for some situation and while else is used for other, but both of them will allow repetition. So this is the main goal. So firstly, before learning about loops, let's learn what are the three mandatory parts of any loop. So when you're working with loops, you should ensure that loop has three parts mainly. So first we have initialization. So this initialization part is used to initialize loop control variable. So when we are working with loops, there will be a loop control variable or loop variable. Let's say I. So before you start any loop, what you'll do is you'll initialize your loop control variable with some value. Let's say 1 for now. You can initialize it any value, 0, 1, any value. Let's take 1 for now. And then the second part is condition. So this condition is the logical condition that decides whether the loop should continue or stop. So this condition part can be a relational expression or logical expression. So this will decide whether your loop will continue or stop. So for example, let's take a condition I less than equal to 10. So what happens is I will be, so the loop will be continuing till I is less than equal to 10. Once it becomes more than 10, so the loop will stop. So if this condition becomes false, the loop will stop. Then we have the updation part. So what this part does is this will update the loop variable that is I. So when you're doing a loop, your loop variable should be updated and modified. For example, here you can give I equal to I plus 1. So if the value will stay 1 itself, like the initialized value, this condition will become true only, right? Forever it will become true if I stays as 1. So that will lead us to some infinite loop. So that is a infinite loop. So to prevent that, we need to have an updation part which will modify the loop variable. Like here, we can update I with I plus 1. That is incrementation we are doing here. So without updating, the loop will run forever. So which will lead to a infinite loop. Now let's learn about for loop. So for loop is used to, so when we want to repeat something for a fixed amount of time or fixed number of times, or if we want to repeat something for every element in a collection or iterable object, you can say. So if you want to repeat something for a fixed number of times or for every element in a collection, you can use a for loop. So the syntax for loop is for space, your variable name, that is the loop variable, and you'll use a membership operator that is in. Then we have a iterable object. So here for and in are keywords. So these are keywords here, and iterable object means it is something that contains multiple values, so that you will iterate through all those values, right? So iterable object means it consists of multiple values. So for example, iterable object means we have lists and strings, and we have tuple and also range of numbers. So that are the iterable objects. Then we also have, so we will be writing a block of statements using the indentation such that this block of code will be referring or inside this for loop. So if this condition becomes true here, then our block of statements will be executed. And after completing this for loop, the other statements in program will be executed if there are any. And then we also have for else loop. So that is the for loop, and with the loop variable in iterable object, it has some block of statements. Then there is a else also. Then that else condition will have the else block of statements. So here, if the block of statements in the for loop are like executed completely without any break or without any interruption, if the block of statements in for will be executed, then your else block will be executed. If the condition here will become false, or your for block of statements will break or terminated at once, then your else block won't be executed. If all the block of statements in for loop will be executed completely, then else block will be executed. So after completing this, if there are any other statements in your program, those will be executed. So this is for loop. So for example, you can take for your variable name here, I'm taking X, let's say. So I'm taking a list, which is a iterable object, 10, 20, 30. Then I'll be doing print X. Okay. So here the loop will print each element in the list. So first your X will be referring to 10 here in the iterable object, and print X, that is 10 means it will print 10. Then X will be referring to 20, then it will print 20, that is in the place of X, and then 30. So this way you can use for loop to print each element in the list. So here the loop will run 3 times, right? We've printed 3 elements, so loop will run 3 times. Then instead of for loop, we can use something called as range function. So this range function, what it does is, it will generate a sequence of numbers. So this range function is very commonly used for loop. So it has 3 syntaxes or 3 formats mainly. First, we have range of stop. So this is the first one. So this range of stop syntax, what it will do is, it will generate numbers from 0 to the stop value -1. So if you see here, range of 5 I've used. So this is like the stop value, right? So what this does is, this will give me the values from 0 to stop -1. So that is 0 to 5 -1. So that will be 0 to 4. So for I, some variable, loop variable in range 5, so the values will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So it will print I. First it will refer to 0 and it will print 0. And then the I variable will refer to 1 and then it will print 1. And then I will refer to 2. So in the iterable object, it will refer to 2 and print 2. And then I will refer to 3 and print 3 and 4. So in this way, it will print all the values in the iterable object range of 5. And then we have the second syntax, that is range of start comma stop. So what happens here is, the generation will start from the start value till stop -1. So this values will be generated. So if you see here, 1 comma 6 we have. So 1 is the start value and 6 is the stop value, right? So it will generate values from 1 to stop -1, that is 6 -1, which is 5. So 1 to 5 values will be generated using the range of 1 comma 6. So I will be iterating the values inside of this range. First it will print 1, and then it will print the next element 2, then 3, 4 and 5. So in this way you can use range function in a for loop and you can generate elements automatically. So this here the loop will run for 5 times, right? As we have 5 elements. And then we have the third syntax, which is range of start comma stop comma step. So here step is like a interval. It will refer to the gap between the numbers, start and stop numbers, okay? So here we have the start value, which is 1, and stop value which is 10 and step value which is 2. So what happens here is first it will take the start to stop values, that is from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So stop minus 1, right? It will generate elements from start to stop minus 1 basically if we have only start and stop. So we'll take these numbers first. Then we have a step value of 2. So what happens is first it will consider the first number and then from here it will take the second element, that is 1, 2. So it will point to 3 now and it will skip 2 here because that's the interval. So it will take from here, it will take again the second element because step value is 2, right? So it will take the second element, that is 1, 2 and it will point to 5. And then from here it will take the second element 1, 2 and it will point to 7. And from here it will take the second element, that is 1, 2 and it will point to 9. So at the end your range of 1, 10, 2 will give me the values 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. So in this way, if you see here, all of these are odd numbers, right? So in this way, you can print your odd numbers in your 1 to 10 range. So here we have print function. So for loop will iterate for 5 times and it will print 1, 3, 5, 7 and 9. So these are the 3 syntaxes of range function you can use in for loop. Then we have looping through strings and lists. So using for loop, we can loop through strings and lists. So here strings are iterable objects. As you know, we can access them character by character, right? So this is the first character, second character, third character. In that way, we can access strings character by character. So here we have an example of S equal to Python, all in uppercase letters. So we have a for loop. I want to iterate through this string. So what I'll do is, first we will assign this string to a variable s. Okay, it is assigned to s. Then here for ch. So this is the loop variable here. Ch is the loop variable. So for ch in s. So what does s mean? Python. So it will refer to the string internally. It will refer this way, Python. And print ch. So first the ch will access the first character. So that is p. So first it will print p. So that is why you have a p here in the output. And then ch, your loop variable, will refer to the second character. It will access the second character and it will print y. Now it will print y. So y. In the same way it will print t, h, o, n. So here as the print function's default end parameter. So end parameter means how you'll end the line of print. So that is new line. So end parameter by default is new line. That is why first it will access p and print p, and in the new line, so here it will end will be a new line, right? So it will print in the new line y. And then from here in the new line it will print t and then h and o and n. If you want you can specify it also. So here that is how this is working. So looping through strings. And then we have looping through lists. So lists are also iterable objects. And here what you can do is you can access the element by element. So here we have a list LST and that list consists of 10, 20, 30 and 40. So these are the elements I have in my list. I can access it element by element. So one by one I can access it. So for val, so here this is a loop variable. So for looping, we'll just use this variable. You can have any value here for I, for x also. So what happens here is for val in list. So what it will be considered internally is for val in a list, that is 10, 20, 30 and 40. So here it will loop 4 times and print each value, print val. So first it will refer to 10 and print val will be 10, right? So it will print 10. And then in a new line, it will refer to 20 and access 20 and it will print 20 next. That is here. And then val will refer to 30 and then it will print 30 next. And then remaining element, that is 40. So till the end of the list, it will print each element in the list by accessing them. So now let us look at the coding part of for loop. So here, firstly, we have a for loop, and we are iterating through a list as we've done just now. So let me run this first. So here, as you can see, first x. So the loop variable here is x, okay? So this x, you can have any value, I also, value also, val also. So I've taken x. So first x will represent or consider the 10, and the 10 will be printed due to the print function we have. So inside of this loop, we are iterating, right? So in this for loop, first x will be 10 and it will print the value 10. Then it will loop again and it will refer to 20 and it will print the 20. And after that, it will refer to 30 and print 30. So this is how you can use a for loop. Now we have for using a range. So in for loop, it will take one element at a time from the iterable object, right? So here we have the iterable object range. So range 1, comma 6 will generate me the values from 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Because this is start index and this is stop value and start value and stop value, right? So this will give me start value till stop value minus 1. So that is why 1 to 5 elements will be given. So this range will refer to these elements. And you should remember the stop value will not be included. So the stop value excluded and it will print only till the elements before stop value. So that is why I'm doing stop value minus 1. So 1 to 5 only. So the loop will print each number in this range, 1 to 5 range. So first here I will represent the or refer to 1, and as we have print I, we are printing 1. And then we have 2 will refer to 2, the next element. It will iterate through each element at a time, right? So then we'll print 2. And then it will I will refer to 3 and print I, that is print 3 will print us. And then it will refer to 4 and print 4 will be happening. And then I will refer to 5 and it will print 5. So this way your range function can be used in a for loop. Then we have for else loop. So here we are using a range again. So as you can see, we have got range of 3, right? So range of 3 means we are using stop value. If we have only one value, we are using a stop value. So as you know, this will generate me the numbers from 0 to the number before the stop value, because stop is excluded, that is stop minus 1. So here we have a stop value of 3. So 0 to 3 minus 1, that is 0 to 2. So the elements will be 0, 1 and 2, right? So this range will give me the iterable elements 0, 1 and 2. So for I in range 3, that is first I will refer to 0 and we have a print of I. So it will print me 0. And then I will refer to 1, that is the next element. And this loop will print these numbers. So 1 will be printed. And then I will refer to 2 in the third loop and it will print I, because we have a print statement here, right? So it will print 2 also. So after the loop finishes normally, that is, it looped through each element, right? No break or no condition becoming false happened here. So it looped through each element normally. So that is why the else block will be executed. That is, print loop completed successfully. So here it will print loop completed successfully. So only if your for loop will finish without any break statement or without any condition becoming false, then itself else will run and it will print the statements inside of the else. So let's run this. So here if you see, First, it printed 0, 1, 2 because this range of 3 consists of those elements. So it is iterating through each element and it is looping through each element and it is printing it. And then as the for loop finished without any break statement or without terminating in between, else block also runs and it will print loop completed successfully if you see here. So this is how for else loop will work. Now let's learn with for else with a break statement, okay? So if you see here in this program, we have a for loop. So again, range of 3 means it will give us values 0, 1 and 2, right? So 0 to stop minus 1, that is 0 to 3 minus 1, 0 to 2, 0, 1, 2. So these are the values. So here print first I will be referring to 0. So once we enter this for loop, we have a condition. So if condition is there. What is that if condition? I equal to 1. So it is checking the value equality. So that is first I will refer to 0, right? So 0 equal to 1. So if 0 equal to 1, it will check. Do you think this condition will be true? No, right? So 0 is not equal to 1. So if 0 equals to 1, so if this condition is true, then the statements inside of this if loop will be executed. But this is not true. So that is why this condition statements won't be executed and it will go out of the loop, like the out of the conditional statement, and it will do the other statements in the program, that is print I. So as this is false, 0 will be printed in your output. So this, let's say this is output. So 0 will be printed in the output. And then next it will loop again, right? So after I referring to 0, the loop will happen again. And now I, that is your control variable, will refer to 1. So now I is equal to 1. Now it will check. So inside of this loop it goes and it will check the if condition. So here what happens is it will be checking if I equal to 1. So that is, it is checking the value equality. So 1 is equal to 1, right? Obviously. So as the values are equal, so the statement inside of this if condition will be executed, that is break. So as this is true, here the break keyword or the break, this is a miscellaneous control statement actually. You will learn about it deeply, but what this does is this will break the execution. So it will be terminated. So here the full program will be broken. So no more printing or no more looping will happen. So as the for loop broke in between and it didn't run normally, else also will not be executed because the for loop has been stopped due to the break. That is why else block also will not be executed. So that you will get output only 0. So here key concept is break will prevent the, if you have a break statement inside of for and that condition, it meets the condition, then break will happen. So break will be executed and it will stop the loop completely. So that is why as the loop stopped in between, else also will not be executed. So we'll get only 0 as the output. So let's run this. So if you see here, for this program, the output is only 0 because first it will, I will represent to 0 and 0 is not equal to 1. So break will not happen and it will go out of this conditional statement and it will print 0. So that is why it printed 0 here. And then I will refer to 1, right? So because range is an iterable object, it will refer to 1 and it will check if 1 is equal to 1. So as that condition is true, the break will be executed and the loop will stop completely and it will not print any other remaining or the other statements because loop has been stopped in between. So as loop has been stopped, else also will not be executed. Now moving on to the next. So we have a for else on a string here. So what happens here is string is also an iterable object, right? So here I'm referring to this code. So here we have a string Nextera Unitech in all capital letters. So as string is an iterable object, what we can do is the loop goes character by character. It will access character by character, that is N, then E, then X, T, E, R, A. In that way, character by character, it will loop. So each character here, first we have a string. So this string has been assigned to S, and then what happens is it will print by using for loop, and it will print this also because they are just print statements and they're not inside of any other conditions thing. So here what happens is these will be printed normally, and then now here we have a for else loop. So in this for else loop, so what happens is for x, your x value, first it will take the first character in your string S. So string S is Nextera space Unitech, right? So first your x will be referring to N, and after that it will print your x value with a tab space. So slash t will refer to as tab space, okay? So some amount of space it will take, and it will, using this format function, it will print the x. So now x will refer to n, right? So in place of curly braces, the x, that is n, will be printed. And then it will loop again, and it will go to the next character e. So by default, print has end parameter as new line, right? So it will go to the new line, and next character x will be referring to e. Then as x is e, it will print with a tab space. It will have a space, and then it will print e. In the same way, it will take a tab space and it will loop through this total string, and it will print each character N, E, X, T, E, R, A, and it will also print this space also. So that is the space here, and Unitech. It will print all the characters in our string. Then after printing all these characters, as there is no break statement here, so this for loop will run normally, right? So after the loop finishes, this else block will be executed. That is, it will print in a new line, it will print this all hyphens. So now let's run this. So here we have this. So first it will print the statement by using for loop, and I'm then printing the line. So this is the line using this, and then our for else will be working. So here first it will refer to n, and it will print with a tab space. I told you, right? Slash t. Here slash t means a tab space. So this is a tab space, and it will print the letter N. And again in a new line, it will go and it will take a tab space again, and X will refer to next letter E, right? So it will print E. And then after that, it will print X. It will refer to X. So your small x will refer to the capital X in your Nextera Unitech, and it will take a tab space again, and it will print X. Then it will go to a new line and it will print all the other characters in the same way. In a new line, it will print Nextera space. So this space is also printed here, and then Unitech. As for loop has been executed neatly, now your else block will print. So it will print. So slash n means in a new line this will be printed. Okay. First we use slash n. So here it took a new line from this, and then it is printing all the lines here. So this is how we got the value. So here string behaves like a collection of characters, and each character will be accessed using a for loop, and each character can be printed. Then here we have for else on a list. So here list consists of all kinds of data types. So we have integer data types, string data types, and also Boolean, and also float values. So as you know, list consists of all kinds of same data types or different data types, or all both of the types, right? So that is why we have different values in a list. And first, here we have just print. That is, by using for loop, this will be printed and it will print the dashes also. And these will be printed automatically. And then it will go to the for else loop. So now here NEUT is the loop variable we are using. So here you can have any value, not just this. I'm just using it as a loop variable here. And then what happens is NEUT will take each element from the list. So in a list, we can access element by element, right? So NEUT, which is the loop variable, will take each element one by one. In the first loop, it will take 10. So NEUT will refer to 10 firstly. And then it will take a tab space and print NEUT in place of curly braces. So 10 will be printed first. And then it will loop again and it will check. So now NEUT will refer to 20. Then it will take a tab space again and it will print 20. In the same way, it will access each of the element and it will be printing the elements. However we want to print, we can print it. Okay. And then as the for loop will run normally without any break statement, else also will be printed because for loop has been looped normally. So else will be printed, that is in a new line, all these dashes will be printed. So now let's look at how this works. So if you see here, first these will be printed because we have print statements. And then the loop for loop will start and it will print each element from your list, that is 1020 Python NEUT true 34.56. Okay, after printing this, as for loop has been printed neatly normally without any break, else also will be printed. So it will print in a new line /n, it will print all these hyphens. So in a new line from this, it will print all these hyphens, that is like a line. Okay. And then we have a program to generate multiplication table using for loop. So here we are using a for else inside of if else. Okay. So first let's look at this code. First let me run this and then you will have an idea. So let's find the multiplication table of 5, let's say. So I got the multiplication table. So what's happening here is, first, here there is an input function and enter a number will be represented in the output. So enter a number will be entering a number and that number will be converted into a string to integer using the int function. So input will take a string value, right? So first it will take that value as a string and it will convert into int using the typecasting function int. So n will be equal to 5 now. So n is equal to 5. Then first we are doing a validation because when you want to find a multiplication, you want your number to be not negative or zero numbers, right? So first we have a validation inside of if loop, sorry, if condition. So here we will check if n is less than equal to 0, that is negative or 0 number we are checking. So if that is negative or 0 number, so that will be printed as n is a invalid input. So if you have n equal to -1 or 0, let's say, so 0 is invalid input, it will be given. And then as 5 here, 5 is 5 less than equal to 0? No, right? So this is false. So as if condition is false, it will directly print the else statement and it will go to the else statement and it will print the block of code. So instead of this else, here we have a print statement, that is this line. So here first a line will be printed and we are printing multiplication table for the n value. So n value here is 5, right? So in place of this curly braces will be writing 5. So multiplication table of 5, this printed. And then we are printing one more line such that it will look neat. So we are printing this line. Now it will move into, so till here we've understood, right? Now it will move into the for else loop. So here first, here I in range 1 comma 10. So as you know, range of start comma stop means it will take the start value till stop value -1, that is 11 minus 1. So 1 to 10. Basically, your multiplication tables are from multiplying your number with 1 to 10, right? So that is why I'm taking a range of 1 to 11 such that it will give me values from 1 to 10. So to get these values here, 1 to 10, to multiply my n, that is 5 here, I'm taking this range. So what's happening here is, first your I will refer to 1. So I will be equal to 1, right? Then what do we have? Print, that is tab space. So you got a tab space here, and it will be, we have a curly braces. So in the format, what values we have? N we have. So first curly braces, N will be referring to the first curly braces and I will be referring to the second curly braces. And the third curly braces is the value of N into I. So we want 5 into 1, 5 into 2, 5 into 3, right? So that's why we are doing a multiplication of N, that is our 5, and your I, that is 1 to 10 values. So here first N value will be printed, that is 5. So neatly to have your multiplication table, we are giving an X here. So in this string we have first n value, that is 5, then we have x, so x is printed, and then the second curly braces refers to I. So firstly I is equal to 1, right? So 1 will be printed. So 5 into 1 we have equal to, so equal to will be printed here. Now what we are doing is, we are doing the multiplication. So n into I, that is 5 into 1 will be done. So that is equal to 5, right? So 5 will be printed. So this result of n into I, that is 5 into 1, will be printed in the third curly braces, that is here. Now it will loop again, and your range of 1 comma 11, that is values from 1 to 10, right? So 1 is done. Next is 2, right? So I will be equal to 2 right now. Now again n will be printed in the first curly braces, that is 5, and x, that is into. Now I is referring to 2. So I value will be printed in the second curly braces, that is 2. So that will be equals to n into I. So 5 into 2 will be done. And this result, that is 10, will be printed in the place of this third curly braces, that is 10. So in this way, 5 into 2 equal to 10, you've written. Next, your I will refer to 3. After 2, we have 3, right? So I is 3 now. First, it will print 5 into, so 5 into, I is referring to 3 right now. So here it will print 3. So that is equal to, this is the string values, right? So this will be equal to the curly braces n into I. So n is 5. So our input is 5, right? So 5 into 3, that is 15. So this output of n into I will be given in the third curly braces, that is 15. So 5 into 3, 15 will be done. So in the same way, all of the numbers will be looped. So first it will loop through 1, and it will write 5 into 1 is 5, and then it will loop through 2. So these numbers, so this first, so this 5 we are getting from our input n. Okay, so here we'll give 5. So from there we are accessing this, and this x and equal to, we are just giving it in the print statements. Okay, as a string we are giving. Now here I values are coming from the range of 1 comma 10, that is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So first we'll be looping through 1, then 2, then 3, 4. So that's why we're getting 1 2 3 4 5. So in this way we are looping I through the iterable object range 1 comma 11. And after that, when we are accessing each loop, we are doing the multiplication. So n into I, for first will be 5 into 1, and it will print 5 here in the third place, third curly braces. And if it is 5 into 2, if your I is referring to 2, 5 into 2 will happen and 10 will be printed here. So in the same way, for all the numbers that will be done, and when 6 I equal to 6, 5 into 6 will be printed in the third curly braces, that is 30. In the same way, 5 when I is 10, that is the last value. So 5 into 10, 50 will be printed here. So in this way, you can get a multiplication table of some certain number. Then we have the program that is if else in for else. So here we are trying to extract vowels from given line of text. So we are just extracting vowels in a string, okay? That may be any string. We are just extracting the vowels and we are writing how many number of vowels are there at the end. So first let me run this and we'll get a better idea. So first I want to enter, let's say, apple, okay? So here first it will take the input in a string format. Enter a line of text will be printed here. So that is the prompt, right? So enter a line will be printed and then I'll be giving the input. Here I gave apple. So this will be taken as a string, okay? So line variable will refer to the string apple after user inputs the value. Then it will print these three lines because they're just print statements, right? So there's a line and given line is equal to, I'm printing the variable line. So line refers to apple value, right? So here given line equals to apple will be printed. So this line will be printed at this curly braces. So given line equals to apple will be printed and it will print this next line also here. So these three are printed. Next, we are having number of vowels variable, okay? So to count vowels, we need a variable. So here, number NOV means number of vowels. Such that when we get a vowel, we can just increment this and we can do that, right? So the initialization is important. So a number of vowels will be equal to 0 first. Then it will enter the for else loop. So here first we have for. So in the for loop, the ch, that is the loop variable, will refer to line. So ch. So for ch in the string apple. So here first we are checking each of the character if it is a vowel or not. So that is why to check if it is a vowel or not, we have given a if else inside of this for loop. So we have if else condition. So in this, if ch not in is a membership operator, right? So if your ch value not in this list of values, that is a, E, I, O, U. So A, E, I, O, U are the vowels, right? So loop. So here we have capital vowels and small vowels also because we don't know the user will give in caps or smalls, right? So we have given every value here as a single characters in a list. So if ch first we are for loop will go by each character. Okay. So first, so for ch in line means, sorry. So first here for ch in line, this value will refer to for ch in line, that is apple. So first it will refer to A. Then here ch will be A, right? In the first loop ch is equal to A. So if ch, that is A, not in these values, is ch, that is A is not in these values? No, right? So A is present here. So that is why if ch is not in these list of vowels, you can continue. But ch, which is A, it is present in this list. So that is why this condition will become false and else condition will be printed. So else condition will be executed, okay? So as the if condition, A not in list of vowels is false. That is why else will be directly printed or executed. So after entering the else block, here we have print tab space. So we have given a tab space and we are printing the ch value. So firstly we have ch value as A, right? So A will be printed here. That is why A is printed here. Here now as A is vowel, we will be incrementing the variable we've taken in the first. So we've taken NOV, right? Number of vowels we want to count, right? So as A is a vowel, here we are also performing NOV equal to NOV plus 1. Now NOV will become equal to 1. Okay. So number of vowels we've counted as 1 till now because we got A. Now in the next loop, so now we have NOV equal to 1. So keep that aside. And again it will loop through for loop. So now line will refer to apple, right? So A is done. Now CH will refer to next letter or the character, that is P. Now it will check, it will go inside of this for loop and it will check if else condition. That is, first it will check the test condition here in the if. That is if CH, which is P. So P value not in AEIOU or capital AEIOU. So is P, which is a constant, present in your list of vowels? No, right? So this condition will become true. So as this if condition became true, the block of statements inside of this if condition will be executed. That is continue. So what continue will do is, this is also a miscellaneous control statement. So what continue it will do is, it will skip the execution here. So it will skip P value. And only in when we have if else, only if or else can be printed, right? So if has been executed, so it skipped the P value and again it will go to the loop. So P is skipped and it will go again to the loop for loop. Now CH will, we still have NOV equal to 1 only. Now line is apple, right? So A and P has been done. Now CH will represent the third character, that is the third P. Now this is also same. So the first P has been skipped. So second P also will be skipped, right? Because it is not a vowel. So that will also be skipped here. And then CH will refer to L. Now let's check L. Now CH is equal to L, right? Then it will go into the if else statements and CH, which is L, not in AEIOU small letters and AEIO capital letters. So is L not in this list of vowels? Yes, they are not. It is not there. L is not there in the list of vowels, right? So this condition will become true again. So as if condition is true, the block of statements inside of if condition will be executed. That is continue. So this continue, what it does is it will skip this part. So there is no, we are not printing anything. We'll just skip here. And else block also won't be printed for this L. Now it will again go to the loop, that is for loop, and CH will represent the next character, that is E. Now CH will represent to E. Our NOV is still 1 now. Now CH will represent E. Now it will check the if else block. So if, that is our condition, it will check first. Now CH equal to E. It will check the condition CH not in AEIOU or AEIOU. So is small letter E not present in this list? No, it is present in this list. So CH, that is E, not in list of vowels is false. So as if condition became false, else condition or the else block will be executed. So now it will print with a tab space. So we have a tab space here and it will print the value of CH. So CH value is E, right? So it will print E. So that way it will print the vowel and then we are incrementing the NOV. So as E is a vowel, we will increment the NOV, that is number of vowels variable. Now NOV will be equal to NOV will be equal to, now still we have NOV equal to 1, right? So 1 plus 1, that will be assigned to NOV. So NOV is updated using a incrementing. So NOV now will be equal to 2, right? After A and E, it will become 2. Now, as the for loop has been executed normally till the end of the string, it has been executed, right? Without any break. So as it has been executed, else block will be printed now because for loop has been done normally and it will print the number of vowels equals to, so the number of vowels equals to the value of NOV. So NOV is 2 right now. So 2 will be printed here. So NOV equal to 2. So in this way you can get or you can extract the vowels from a given line of text, and also you can get the count of vowels in a string or line of text. So let's give cloud now. So in this word, first it will check the CH will represent the letter C, and it will check if it is C is present in this list of vowels. So as it is not present, so this condition CH not in, that is C, the letter C not in the list of vowels will become true, and that will be skipped because of the continue. And then it will loop again, and then the CH value will refer to L. L also will be skipped, that is L not in this list of vowels will become true, and that will also be skipped because of the continue. L also will be skipped. Then it will go to O. So now CH will represent O, and it will check the if condition. So O not in AEIOU or capital AEIOU. So as O is present in here, O not in list of vowels will become false because it is present, right? So not in, as we have not in, it will become false. So as if condition became false, it will directly print the else block. Here, that's why it will print a text tab space, and it will print the CH value, which is O right now, that is here. And then it will increment NOV, that is number of vowels will be, first it will be 0 only. Due to C and L not being vowels, it will not go to this, right? And it will be skipped. So when the CH will be equal to O, it will go to the else block and it will print O, and then NOV will be incremented. So 0 plus 1, that is 1. So 1 will be updated with the NOV variable. And then it will go to U and it will check. So here CH will become U. So as this U, so CH not in list of vowels, U not in list of vowels, but U is present, right? So this will become false again, and if condition won't be executed and else condition will be executed directly, and it with the tab space, U will be printed because CH is U right now. And after that, now we have NOV equal to 1, right? After O, we have NOV equal to 1. Now, because of U, NOV will be incremented with plus 1. So that will be 2. So 2 value is in the NOV. NOV variable refers to the value 2 right now. Then it will check D. So D is a constant, right? Consonant. It is not a vowel. So again, this if condition will become true for CH equal to D. If condition will be true, and that will also be skipped using the continue. So in that way, after printing OU, that for loop as it has been executed normally without any break, else will be printed with number of vowels equal to NOV. NOV variable will be printed here, that is 2. So number of vowels equal to 2. So in this way you can extract vowels and the count of vowels. Now we have so this program is used for reading list of values and displaying them. So first let's say we have a values 4. So first value is 6, second value is 7, third value is 8, fourth value is 9. So I want to print a list of values instead of the list data type. So as I've given the values, they have been taken as the elements in a list and printing. So to read list of values and to display them, we are using this program. So what happened here is, first it will give me the prompt, enter how many values you have. So that will be given and user needs to enter the value here. So I gave 4 here. So input function will take a string first, and this will be converted into integer using the int typecasting technique, and that will be converted to 4. So now n is equal to 4 for me. So we are reading the values dynamically. That is, we are taking the values from user only, all the 4 values also. So to read values dynamically, we are using this program. So first we will check if your n is equal to or less than 0. So your count of values can't be negative or 0, right, in this case. So that is why first we are doing a validation check. Instead of if condition, I am giving n less than equal to 0. So first it will check that, and as n is equal to 4, right? So 4 less than equal to 0, it will check. Is 4 less than equal to 0? No, right? So this will become false. So as if the condition became false, it will directly move on to the else block. So it will check these block of code, and in the else block, first we are creating an empty array. Sorry, empty list. So to enter all our values, we need to have a list, right? So you can create an empty list using the list function. So this list function you are giving to the variable lst. So this will consist of an empty list right now. Then what happens is we are using the for else loop here. So the looping we are doing here, and first in the for else loop we have for I in range 1 comma n plus 1. So here we are taking a range of elements 1 comma n plus 1 means 4 plus 1. So 4 plus 1 means 5, right? So range of 1 comma 5. So this is a start value and this 5 is a stop value. So this range will give us values 1, 2, 3, 4 only, right? So stop value is excluded. So we'll get only values from start to stop minus 1. So that is 1 to 5 minus 1. So that is 1 to 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So as we need 4 values, I'll be giving 1 comma n plus 1, because the n plus 1 value will be, that is the stop value will be excluded, right? So that is why n plus 1 value I give. If I give n, it will only take from 1 to 4, right? If I give 1 comma n as the range, 1 to 4 only it will take, and it will take only 1 to 3. Only 3 values it will take, but I need to take 4. So that is why I am giving plus 1 value for n here. Okay. So here it will take range of 1 comma 5, because my n is 4, and it will take values 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 values it will take. It will loop 4 times. So first I want to take the values from the user. So if you see here, we are taking the input as string itself. So we are not typecasting them. And first enter the value will come. So first your I will refer to these values, right? So first your I will refer to 1. So I is equal to 1 in the first looping. So as I equal to 1, so I is 1 here, right? So enter one value, that is the first value will be entered. So enter one value will come, and the user will take, like the user will give the input using the input function. It will take the input. Our program will take the input 6. So I have given 6. So this 6 is taken as a string only, and this 6 will be added, assigned to the variable val. And what happens here is we are appending or adding this value 6 to the list lst using dot append function. So that's why I'm doing here lst, which is the list dot append, and instead of this append I'm giving the value, whichever the value the user will give, that value can be appended into my empty list. So here as the value became 6, what happens is first list is a lst is a empty list, right? So this is empty list. So after appending value 6, what happens is 6 will be appended inside of my list lst. So after this, what happens is it will loop again. So it will loop through the next element, that is iterable object or range values. So here as the range of 1 comma 5 is 1, 2, 3, 4. So first value is done, right? So this is done. Now our I will represent 2. So now I equals to 2. So that is why the input prompt will be given as enter 2 value, that is the second value to enter. So enter 2 value will be printed and the user will give an input. So I have given 7 here. Now this 7 will be taken as a string value and this 7 will be given or assigned to the variable val. Now I'm appending this again to my list lst dot append val, that is 7, right? Append 7. So I'm appending or adding 7 to my list at the end. So here 7 will be added to my list lst. Then I will represent, again it will loop, right? For loop, and I will represent 3 now. So I will be equal to 3. And here it will print enter, that is I, here I, right? I value 3. So I is 3 now. So enter 3 value or the third value, it will be printing. And now user will give the third value, that is 8 here, and 8 will be taken as a string and it will be assigned to the variable val. And now this val is appended to the list lst. So lst dot append val 8. This 8 will also be appended or added at the end of the list we have already. Next, what happens is it will so now we are done with 1, 2, 3. Now I will be referring to 4 in the iterable object. So I is equal to 4 now. Okay. So I is equal to 4. Now we'll get the next line. Inside of this for loop, we have these block of statements. So input, val equals to input. So input function means it will take the input from the user. So enter I value. So I is equal to 4. So that's why it will print here 4. Enter 4 value. That is the fourth value. So I have given 9 here. So this 9 will be taken as a string and it will be assigned to the variable val. Now what happens is lst dot append val, which is 9, which is a string. So this value will be appended using the dot append function to your list lst. Then here the 9 value will be appended. So that's how the for loop completes, looping through all the elements in the range. And then as the for loop has been done normally, the else block will be printed or else block will be executed. So inside of else block, we have a line and the second, it will print this line. So it will print this line. And then next, it will print the next print statement, that is list of elements equals to. Now it will print the list, LST. So for dot format, I've given list, right? So this list will be printed in the place of this curly braces, that is list. So list of elements equals to list 6, 7, 8, 9. So in this way, I'm printing the values and then it will print this line also here. So now if we want to take values as int values only, let's say. So if I want to take only int values inside of my list, I can just be giving. So how many values I want to enter? Let's say 3. So first value is 5, 6, 7. So if you see here, we don't get the values in like a strings, right? So because I'm doing the typecasting, so I'm taking only values of int. So that is why I won't get the string types here. So if we don't do the typecasting here, it will take any kind of string. That may be a number or any kind of string. So let's say I'll be giving 3 values. That is apple 1, 3.4. So each of the value, this is a basically if you see this is a text. So this is a string. Then if you see here, this is a number and this is a float value, right? But as I'm not doing any typecasting here, it will be taken as a string only because of the input function. And the first value apple will be taken as apple. That is a string. And this value 1 will be taken as a string as well. That's why we have here apostrophes. And then this value, which is a floating value, it will be taken as string only because we are not doing any kind of typecasting here. So these are taken as a strings. So this way you can read values dynamically from the user and you can add them to a list and you can print that list at the end. So as the for loop has been done normally without any break statement, the else block will be printed and you can print the list of elements using the else block. Okay everyone, let's continue. So this program decides whether the given number is a prime or not. So we have a program here. First let me run this. And let me enter a number, let's say 5. So 5 is a prime. So what's happening in this program is, first we are taking enter a number. So this prompt will be printed here, enter a number, and this will input will take your input from the user as a string, and then this will be converted into integer type. So typecasting will happen and this 5 will be typecasted into the number 5. So firstly, let's know what is a prime number, okay? So prime number is a number that has only two factors. So that is 1 and itself. So if it has only two factors, that is 1 and itself, then it can be called as a prime number. So for example, prime numbers are 2, 3, 5, 7, 11 and 13, okay? So example of like non-prime numbers is 4. So this 4 is divisible by 2. And also it's divisible by 1, 2 and 4, right? So it has more than two factors, that is three factors it has here. So that is why this is not prime. And if you check 6 or 9 also, 6 is divisible by 1, 2, 3 and 6. 9 is divisible by 1, 3 and 9. So these are not prime numbers. Only 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13 and so on. The numbers which have only two factors are prime numbers. So step 1 is we are taking an input from the user. So this prompt enter a number will be printed and we'll take the input from the user, that is, let's say I've given 5 here. So 5, it will taken as a string and this will be typecasted into integer int. That is 5 integer it will be taking. So n is equal to 5 now. So then we are validating the number here. In the if condition, we are validating the number because the number, if it is less than or equal to 1, it cannot be prime number, right? So 1 is like neither prime nor composite. So 1 cannot be prime and 0 and the negative numbers also cannot be prime numbers. So we are validating the input, that is n. So it will check 5 less than equal to 1. So is 5 less than equal to 1? No, right? This is false. So as the test condition is false, directly it will be going into the else block and it will run these or execute these code. And first here in the else block, what we'll do is first we are doing a prime checking, like if it is a prime number or not, we'll first check. So first we have result equal to false. So here we created a variable called as result and we are assigning it is equal to false. So initially we are assuming the number is prime. So result equal to false means we are assuming that number is a prime number. If later we find any divisor like more than 1 and the number itself, if we find any other number which is divisible exactly by that number, we will change this value. So initially we are assuming the number as prime, that is why result equal to false, okay? Then we have the step 4, that is we are checking the divisibility. So for I in range of 2 comma n. So this loop will check numbers from 2 to n minus 1. So here 2 to n minus 1 means 5 minus 1, right? So 2 to 4. So this will check 2, 3 and 4 values. So inside of this loop, we have 3 numbers. So it will run 3 times. So we'll check here whether any of these numbers 2, 3, 4 will divide n, that is 5, perfectly. So to check that, we are doing here if n modulo I equal to 0. So I will refer to these values, right? 2, 3 and 4. So for I in range 2 comma n, so this is the range of values. I will refer to 2, 3, 4 and it will check instead of a for loop, it will go and it will check the if condition, that is n modulo I equal to 0. So n means 5, right? Modulo 2. First I will refer to 2 and it will check if it is equal to 0. So if the modulo of the n and the number is 0, then your number 2 is exactly dividing 5. Otherwise, it won't be a divisor or it will not exactly divide. So if you do modulo of 2, so this is not equal to 0 because 5 by 2 will be giving me remainder 1, right? So 1 is equal to 0, that will be false. So this condition will become false because 2 will not be a factor. And then, so after this, so 5 modulo 2. So if we have, let's say numbers like 6. So let's think n is 6. So what happens here is n, that is 6 modulo 2, that is I, right? It will check with 0. So if you see here, 2 will exactly divide 6. So that is why remainder will be 0. And it will check the next number also, 3. So 3 also will be dividing 6 exactly. That is remainder 0 will come, right? 3 2 is 6. So in this case, as this number is dividing with more than like 1 6, other than 1 6, it is being divided by 2 and 3 also, right? So this is why 6 will not be a prime. So here 5 modulo 2 is equal to 0, that is false. So this will be false and it will come out of that condition. And initially we have false. So result equal to false only, right? So as the if condition became false here for me, as the if condition became false, so these block of code will not be executed and it will come out of the if block, and after that it will come to this block, that is these are the other statements in your program. So result as false only, there is nothing changed. So if result false, so if your test condition here false, then it will print else print the number n is prime. So we assumed, right, if result is false initially, number is prime, right? So if false, that is test condition became false, then it will print directly the else block, that is print number is prime, that is 5 is prime. So it will directly print 5 is prime. If we have, let's say 6, okay? So n is 6 here. So first it will validate the value 6. So 6 is less than equal to 1. So is 6 less than equal to 1? No, this is false. So directly it will go to the else block. And firstly it will assume result equal to false. That is number is a prime. So first it will assume 6 is a prime. And then we are validating if it is prime or not. So for I in range 2 comma n, that is 2 comma 6. So it will check values 2, 3, 4, 5. So here what happened is, if 6 modulo I, that is 2 equal to 0. So is 6 divided by 2, that is 2 3s are 6, right? So remainder will get 0 only. So this became true here. So if condition became true, then we have two statements here. So what these statements do is, two things happen here, that is result equal to true. So initially we thought result equal to false, that is number is a prime, right? Now result will be equal to true, that is 6 is not prime, like the number is not prime. We are considering it because it is divisible by 2 also here. So this means we found a factor that is 2. Now factor of 6 is 1, 2 and 6. So the number is not a prime. And then we will immediately stop the loop because once we find a factor, we already know the answer, right? So we have more than 2 factors. So obviously that number is not a prime. So immediately we are stopping the loop using the break statement. So you don't need to continue checking the other numbers also. Because directly as this number is having one more factor other than 1 and 6. So this is not a prime number. Then you will consider the final decision. After breaking from this, you will go to the if else condition. So if as the result has been changed to true, right? So true. So the test condition is true means it will print this value, that is 6 is not prime. So in the 5 case, it will loop through all numbers. So this range 2 comma 5 will give me values 2, 3, 4, right? So first I will be 2. It will check 5 percentile 2 equal to 0. So this is not equal to 0. 1 will be not equal to 0. So that is why it will again go to the loop and it will check 3 also. Then 5 modulo 3 equal to 0. Then that will also be not equal to 0 because the remainder will be 2, right? So when you do 3 and 5 division, so 3 ones are 3, remainder will be 2. So 2 is not equal to 0, right? So again, this condition became false and it will go to loop again and it will check 4 also. Then it will check 5 modulo 4. So this will also be 1 equal to 0. So that will also be not true. So after completing the loop, this if statement, still that condition is becoming false only for all the values when we give a prime number like 5. So it will complete looping and then our result equal to false will stay only, right? So initially what we assumed, it is the same. There is no change in it. So after completing this loop, it will go to the next loop, that is if else conditions, and for 5 result will be false only. So as here result false. So test condition is false means if statement won't be executed and else statement will be executed, that is print 5 is a prime. So here what happened is we didn't find any factor which will exactly divide 5. So that is why 5 is a prime number because it doesn't have any factors other than 1 and itself. So this is how we can find a prime number. And if you see here, let's check with other numbers like 6. So 6 is not a prime because it will be divided with 2 here. When we're checking in this range of 2, 3, 4, 5, so 6 will be divisible by 2. So as we have 3 factors here for 6, you don't need to check others. So this condition will become true and result will be changed to true. And you don't need to check the other 2, 3, 4, 5 also, and it will directly break it and it will go to the if else. And as the result is true, so here the test condition that is true, it will become true. So that will become true and it will print 6 is not a prime. In case of 5 or like 7, so those are prime numbers, right? It will check all the numbers from 2 to the n number minus 1, let's say 7. So it will check from 2 to 6. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, each number won't be dividing 7 exactly. So that is why we'll not find any factors and we'll take the assumed result, that is result equal to false only. And here if result is false, else will be printed, that is 7 is prime. So in this way you can find if your number is a prime number or a composite number. If we take 4, so that is not a prime. So it will check the values from 2, 3. So 2 will directly divide 4, right? 4 by 2, it is 2. So we'll get a remainder 0 there. So as we got the factors 1, 2, 4 right now, so that is why it is not a prime. So this if statement will be executed and result will become true and it will print 4 is not prime exactly. So that is how you can write a program to decide whether your given number is prime or not. So today we've learned about the looping or iterative or repetitive statements. And here in this, we've learned about the for loop and for else loop for today. And so this for loop is used for repetition part, and mainly any loop should consist of three mandatory parts. That is initialization part. We need to initialize your loop control variable like I with some value, let's say 0 or 1. And then you need to have a condition part to check whether your loop should continue or not. So this condition part will check that. And your condition can be a relational or logical expression like I less than 0 or I less than 10. And then we need to have the updation part. So we need to update the element or your loop control variable, because without updation part, this I will stay at 0 only. So if I will stay at 0 only, this condition will become true, right? For forever it will become true. So 0 is less than 10. So this will become true continuously. So infinite loop will happen there. So that is why to prevent infinite loop, we need to update this such that it will go 1 less than 10. So 0 will be updated to 1, then 2, 3. After 10, it will be updated to 11. Then your condition will become false and that loop will break. Otherwise, if we don't update it, it will stay at 0 or the initial value only, or it will stay at the same value and the loop will continue forever, and we will have an infinite loop condition. So this updation part will modify our loop variable. And then we have two syntaxes for loop, that is just a for loop and then the other statements in your program, or you can also have your else here. So the else block, if your for loop completely runs through all the objects or the all the elements without any break statement, if there is no break statement, then if this for loop completes normally, your else block also will be executed. That is, whatever statements here are there, they will be executed. If there is some break statement inside of your for loop and that condition became true and the loop has been broken, then this else block also will not be executed. So here the for and in are your keywords. Then we have learnt about how we can use the range function inside of your for loop. And this range function has three syntaxes: range of stop, so that will give values from 0 to stop minus 1. And then we have a range of start comma stop, so this will give values from start till stop minus 1. And then we have the range of start comma stop comma step. So here we are having an interval which is a step value, so that many values can be skipped. So from start to stop, it will skip the values number of step, and then it will print the remaining values. So this is range. And then we've learned about looping through strings and looping through lists. So you can use the for loop to loop through a string by accessing character by character, and also you can loop through a list using the accessing from element by element. So each character will be accessed inside of a string and each element will be accessed inside of a list. So that is what we've learned today. So tomorrow we will learn about the while or while else loop, and also the miscellaneous flow control statements, which is break, continue, and pass. So this is it for today, guys. If you want to watch the previous videos, you can go to the Python for AI 2026 playlist in our channel, and you can watch the videos from day 1 to day 12 and you can revise them. If you like our content, you can subscribe to our channel and hit the like button and share it with your friends who want to learn Python. And if you have any questions, please put it in the chat box and please wait for the feedback form. So I'll see you guys in the next class. Thank you for listening today.